Welcome to Make the Most of Marriage. Hope everybody's doing well. Can you hear me okay? Yes, good. Nice to see everybody again. It's been a while since I was here, I believe, but really nice to be back. And we have another jam-packed evening for you guys. We have Roger and Daniela Wetherall here this evening, which I will introduce a bit later. And hope you guys are as pumped as I am to have this evening. A chance to get to know some new people and a chance to learn something new about how you can improve your relationship. And just the main thing is, I think, to connect as a couple, connect as a community, and build stronger relationships all around, really. So if there's some people here from Russia, I think we can move to just a prayer for the evening. Patrizia will lead us in a word of prayer. Patrizia.
Yes. Hi, hello everybody. Please join me in prayer. Dear beloved heavenly parents, true parents of heaven and earth and humankind, we are so grateful to be here tonight together as brothers and sisters from many different parts of this globe. And we truly want to please you and to build a holy community like our beloved true mother is dreaming of. And of course, also our true father is dreaming of. So we are here tonight as every MMM to connect to you, first of all, with a deeper heart, a deeper relationship. And we also want to connect to each other. This is a place where everybody can be safe in communicating, in listening, in understanding something more about couples' life, blessed couples' life and families. So we really want to invite you. We want to invite your spirit to be our guide tonight. And we also want to please you in everything that we do. We are so grateful that tonight we speak about the heart of communication. This is a key point in our life, also in our life of faith. So we really want to have you as the main guest. We welcome you and we want to pray that you can be happy together with us tonight and to allow us to understand and listen carefully to what we have to learn. We pray all these things together in one heart as brothers and sisters, with all brothers and sisters here, and in my name, Patrizia and Franz Kerschbermeier from the Blessed Center family, Kerschbermeier. Aju.
Aju. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was a lovely intro to the evening as well. And you got to hear some more about the topic of this evening as well, the heart of communication, which is a great topic. So for the people that don't know, Make the Most of Marriage is an initiative that's been launched by FFWPU Europe, and basically this is our 13th event. So we started January 2020, just before coronavirus hit. We were completely corona-proofed because we were already on Zoom, so we've been able to keep going just as normal throughout, which has been great. And yes, we've had a lot of different speakers in the last the last 12 events, and we're hoping to continue to develop MMM with other events. And like I said, the main mission of MMM is to create a thriving community of blessed couples and connect our community. Now we have so much technology available like Zoom, so it's much more easy to interact with other people. And of course, through the pandemic now, I think that's become more evident than ever that it's that even our church community as a whole we've all come together much more, or joining people's Sunday services around the world or other people's events so much more easily now because they've all been on Zoom in the last year. So we can see how we're all coming together in this way. So just a quick intro to all the staff that's working with MMM. So we have a few people. So we have Abby and Victor. So I'm going from left to right here. And we got Andy and Francesca. We got myself, Daniel, and we got Patrizia and Frank, her husband as well, who's helping little bit behind the scenes, and Orlande, who's the head of the BFD Europe, and is sort of she's sort of the founder, you could say. she put this group of people together originally, and we've been working together ever since. So it's been very great. So just for the people who haven't been here before, just to quickly the format of the evening. So I'm shortly going to introduce the speakers. They're going to speak for about 25 minutes. Then we have about a 5 to 10 minute Q&A, and then we'll introduce the questions for the groups. And before you go into the groups, we have a short 5-minute break, just if somebody needs the toilet or just need to grab a glass of water or something like that. Then you have half an hour in your groups, and groups are, kind of divided into the relevant. We found that the best kind of success model for that is to fit people together who are in the same kind of life situation. So that's what we roll with most of the time at the moment. And then when people come back from the groups, we have a short sort of, if there's anything that came up from the groups, and then the speakers give their final announcements. We make our final announcements, and then that's kind of the end of the official evening. And there's also then a chance at the very end to rejoin your groups, and that's kind of an option that's available there as well. So I think we're past all that. We can move into the main attraction of the evening. So we have two lovely people, Roger and Daniela Wetherall, here with us, all the way from America. What time is it over there?
It's
quarter to 3.
Yeah, 2:45 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay, so not too bad. we've had some speaker that joined in from Japan. I think actually in the end he pre-recorded and he just said hi, and then he played his recording, so it wouldn't be too bad with that kind of thing. So I just wanted to give them a quick introduction, just so people get a little bit more background about them. So they were blessed in Korea in 1989. They got three children, all kind of young adults already, 2 boys and 1 girl. And Roger is actually from Australia, and he joined the movement there at age 19 in 1979. And currently now he works at Copper Surgical as Director of Consumer Relationship Management. And he's also the US coordinator for the International Association for Peace and Economic Development, and also the Universal Peace Federation. And Daniela is from Italy, and she joined in 1985 at age 25. And actually I think within a 10-year period, her whole family actually joined the movement. And there's a lot of blessed children in the family now, nine blessed children apparently. And also today, Daniela works as a professional translator and interpreter, and speaks 6 different languages. Very, very impressive. That's good, comes in handy. And also teaches Italian to middle school. And she taught Italian to middle schoolers in the United States for 7 years. So they've both been through their own journey in their relationship, and been working on their own relationship and gone through a lot of education for themselves. But also in more recent years, they've educating themselves to help other people in their relationships. And also they have run the marriage course, which with MMM we promote highly for everybody. They've run it 8 times, which is amazing. And if you haven't joined the marriage course yet, you should join it. And I'm sure maybe you can even join Roger and Daniela. I'm not sure, but I hope so. Then there might be a possibility to join even that course in the future. Great. So I would like to introduce them. And so Roger and Daniela, maybe everybody can give them a big hi, a big wave. And the floor is yours. Welcome to MMM.
Thank you. So my name is Roger.
And I am Daniela.
All right, just so we got that straight. Because sometimes people get us confused. No, okay.
So just to make it clear, we're still working on our marriage, because it's always an ongoing improvement project. And it's not because we've done all these things that we say, oh, we have arrived, we have accomplished. Actually, unless you keep up the good work every day, things can very easily slide in the wrong direction. Now, one of the reasons why we've chosen the topic of communication is that it is actually a very dear topic to me. I think that by nature, I am a communicator. And just looking at Patrizia and thinking, Patrizia, I met you in 1985. And it's just, we've never lost touch with each other throughout all these years. Communication is extremely, extremely valuable. And when we go back to the etymology of the verb to communicate, we go back to the original meaning in Latin, which is actually to share, to transmit the quality of feeling, to open into each other. And this is a very profound meaning. For me, to communicate is to commune. And I often think of the experience of the Holy Communion. For those of you who have a Catholic or a Christian background, that is such a personal experience, that oneness that you can achieve when you communicate. And now I would like to ask Roger to continue.
So whereas my wife is a natural communicator and, as a translator is always living in the world of language, I am not. And I am the kind of person who is the strong, silent type mostly, right? So something that I have inherited from my family. So for me, communication was something that you only did as a last resort to find a solution to a problem, okay? When everything else had failed, then you would sit down and talk. So I grew up kind of suspicious of words. I felt, yeah, people could say anything, and then they go back on their words, and I love you, and then 2 hours later I hate you, whatever. So words are like, I felt they're so insubstantial, and I like things that are solid, as an engineer, and facts and science and all of those kind of things. So, you might have heard of something called active listening, where you have to repeat back to your spouse or whoever you're having a conversation with, and you talk about, you repeat it back to them. Well, in my experience, I practiced passive listening. Okay, that's where you sit there and you pretend to be listening to the other person, or you sit there and you go, yes, and you nod your head and you don't say anything back. So that was kind of how I grew up. And I learned a lot of this from my dad, who is a very quiet person. And he, doesn't share his feelings or his emotions much. And that was generally how I grew up in my family. And when I met my wife, and we were blessed in Korea, it was kind of a shock to the system, because she could talk and talk and talk and talk. And I just didn't know, I didn't have the words to express what was going on inside myself. And so I really struggled with that. And she would say it really kind of loud, and you know how Italians can be sometimes, right? And I thought, wow, this is really scary. I was actually a little bit frightened of her in those times. So that went on for a few years. And so, for me, conversation was, something that I felt, let's just do this once. Let's have this conversation once and we'll get it over and done with. And then we don't need to talk about it again for probably another 2 or 3 years, okay? But then one point I realized, actually, the conversation is the relationship. So if you stop talking, if you stop having a conversation with somebody or with your spouse, the relationship will quickly die. It dries up. Your relationship will become like one of those prunes that has had all the moisture sucked out of it. And so being in that conversation continually and continuing to engage in the conversation again and again actually is how you build relationships and you continue to grow.
So I actually remember asking Roger a question at the beginning of our uh, marriage blessing, and I don't remember what it was. We lived in Korea for 3.5 years, and I asked him a question. We were walking along the streets of Seoul. He looked at me and he said, "Well, I'll tell you in 3 days." And I thought, "What did you say?" "I'm asking you now." And he said, "Yeah, I'll tell you in 3 days." I thought, gosh, there's no way that we'll ever survive. So there was a lot of work that we had to do. And actually, active listening is a very empowering skill. And there is nobody who is more important than your spouse and your husband or wife that we need to listen to. And it's something that we really need to build a strong marriage. And when we effective listening actually makes our partner, our spouse, feel valued and loved. And this is really very important. But in order for us to be effective in listening, we need to be intentional. It's not something that happens, okay, I'm going to listen to you. I have to intentionally be in a place where I can actually receive. I become the holder, the recipient of what my husband wants to communicate. And I really like this part in the Bible in Proverbs 18:13. It says, "He who answers a matter before he hears it, it is folly and shame to him." And in lay language, spouting off before listening to facts is both shameful and foolish. Now, Roger, would you like?
So now we have a little treat for you. We have a video that we would like to share with you. Some of you may have seen this video before, but I think it really depicts what many conversations are like between a husband and a wife. So let's roll the video. Thank you. That's I thought we'd add a little humor in today. I mean, I've watched that thing. I must have watched it 15, 20 times, but it always hits me,
We always use it in our marriage course on the session on communication. We always add it because the ability to laugh is part of communicating, actually.
And I think we really see ourselves in that because, just a few weeks ago, we had the same experience. I was walking down the street with my wife and she was trying to share something with me, something deep and profound. And she was struggling and she was a little bit upset and I was, well, why don't you just, stop looking at Facebook? And she got so upset with me.
It wasn't just looking at Facebook. It was a bit more complicated, but the point was that he was trying to fix rather than allowing me to vent out my frustration.
Exactly.
So we have learned, actually, when we share, we have come to an agreement that we ask each other permission for insights. I mean, if somebody shares, then we say, so would you like for me to offer you some ideas, insights, give you some feedback? So that, sometimes it happens naturally, but sometimes it's important to ask, would you like to just share, or are you actually looking for a deeper way to communicate? Now, there are 5 very bad habits to listening that we'll be going through now. And the first one is disengaging. So that's actually something that speaks to me, because when we sit and talk, or even when we walk on the street and we're sharing, I suddenly go, oh my goodness, look at that flower. It's so good. I have to take a picture of it. And Roger is talking, and then he's like half a mile away from me, and I'm there snapping photos of flowers. Or we are in the room, oh, that vase should be faced this way. So I really have to focus. I have to switch on my active listening and effective listening switch. And the second one is?
Well, the first one, I learned a new word the other day called phubbing. Have you heard of phubbing? Phubbing.
Mm.
Okay, that's where you are having a conversation with somebody and their phone goes bzz, bzz, and they pick it up and they say, oh, excuse me a minute. And they go, tip, 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 tip. And then they say, and they put it down and they say, okay, no, I'm sorry, what were we saying? So that is getting phubbed, phone snubbed, right? Phubbed. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very big barrier to having an effective communication.
Disengage.
In
Actually.
disengaging with somebody, right? And it really sends the message to a person that what they're saying is not valuable or important to you. So
Right.
giving people attention is really important. Next point was reassuring. Okay, this is a big issue that I have. I like to say, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. You know, just
Blah, blah,
forget
blah,
about
blah,
it.
blah.
You know, it's not important. But that also is failing to acknowledge what the other person is saying, what they are trying to convey, and recognizing that what they're saying is actually important. Okay, so it's really important not to, you know, try and reassure the person, even though that's kind of my natural instinct is like to comfort or to say everything's fine. People have to be able to express themselves. And the next one
ties into the next
ties
one,
into
actually.
this, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not allowing our partner to voice negative emotions. And
Giving advice.
oh, sorry, did I get that wrong? Yes, giving advice. Sorry.
You see, I'm listening.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Giving advice. And this is kind of goes back to that one about the nail, right? We're trying to focus on the solution rather than empathizing with our partner. So when we do that, and I am the kind of person who's always trying to fix the problem, okay? There, as an engineer, there has to be a solution. I like to go around and fix everything. If I see something broken, I am just looking at it and trying to figure out how can I fix that. So when my wife comes to me with a problem, then my first instinct is to try and fix the problem. But actually, she might just want somebody to listen to her and allow her to express what she's feeling and then be acknowledged. And I say, understand how you feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
The next one is going off on a tangent, which is, again, something I do all the time. I live in a gazillion boxes. As if you are familiar with Mark Gangor program and how a woman thinks, I hop from one box to the other. And so as we start talking, I start sharing with him, and then suddenly I remember, wait a minute, there was something else I wanted to tell him. So I interrupt myself, and then I say something different. And then I go back to the first thought when a third one comes. And as age passes, I'm always afraid of forgetting what I have to say. And so I look at his face, and he has this forlorn face like, okay, on which topic are we now? I have to reel in, just to reel in and just try to really understand. Okay, let me conclude the first thought. Then I'll go on the second. And then if necessary, maybe tomorrow, we'll talk about the third one, if I remember.
That's right.
And
often I have to, she'll get to the end of a long series of about 5 different tangents. And I'll say, oh, and by the way, what are we having for dinner?
Okay.
Okay, so this
interrupting.
I keep interrupting?
Yeah.
Okay. So next we'd like to talk about different levels of communication. So when we are sharing with somebody, we could start off sometimes on a very superficial level, and then we go into deeper and deeper levels, right? So the first, I think, level is like passing on information, or even above that, there might be social interaction. That's where you're talking about the weather, hello, or, the weather is always a good one, or, where did you go for vacation, or something to that effect. So passing on information is important. We need to be able to, plan a schedule. And some people actually even struggle with this level of communication within a family. They don't, have times where they meet together and they plan out the day. What are they going to do with the kids? What are we doing for vacation? Talking about, budgets and those kind of things. The next level is about sharing our ideas and opinions. In this level, we are going a little bit deeper and talking about, our thoughts about divine principle or the Bible or theology or politics or those kind of ideas. And then the third level is being open about our feelings and our needs. So in that level of communication, you really need to dig into what's going on inside myself and how can I convey that and how can I understand what's going on inside my spouse. And that requires a lot of vulnerability. That's where we need to be truly brave and not shy away from the possibility that we may be rejected or hurt in our communication. And this is actually the area that I struggled with most in my life, because I realized I didn't even have the words to describe what I was feeling inside often. And I had to learn how to identify when I was feeling sad, when I was feeling guilty, when I was feeling ashamed, and be humble enough to actually express that.
Yeah. So there are a lot of benefits of communication. Communication really builds trust. And when we trust, we develop the willingness to be vulnerable, actually. But it is also important to understand that communication is not just a technique, a skill. You do that, I do this. Communication is actually to invoke the presence of God, to bring the presence of the divine heart, which is alive in the person who's talking and in the person who is receiving. This is really fundamental because when we are vulnerable, there is a possibility that we may be hurt by the person who's talking, the person who is communicating with us. But when we build trust and are vulnerable within God's presence, we actually become open to learn something new. And this is really an incredible gift we give ourselves and we give each other. And with this, we have finished. And now that he's learned how to talk, he never stops, by the way. And so that's it. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Wow. Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's amazing. And it's so nice to, I think we could all really feel how you guys have digested this material yourselves. It's very familiar. A lot of it is very familiar to me personally. I think Roger, I've gone through your situation as well. I think, and my wife also was much better at communicating. We came from a family of people where they talk a lot, they express everything. My family, we didn't talk about anything, so there was a bit of clash also in the beginning. So I could really relate to that, and it took me a good 8 years maybe to get there. So it's a nice, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that to some degree. Sometimes it's the opposite way around. I think it depends on maybe what kind of maybe family you've grown up, or also culturally. Some cultures encourage people to share their emotions, whilst other cultures doesn't encourage you to share your emotions. So there's a lot of these different things. Great. If there was any questions that came up, I'm just going to see if there was any. Yeah, there's a few questions in the chat here. We can just bring them. This is a really good question that's just come in here from somebody. How can I practically help my partner open up and share deeply? So any kind of ideas, or maybe anything that you guys use to help to open up for further sharing?
You want to answer that? Do you have some thoughts?
Well, for me, it was never giving up. and really understand that actually I had to learn how to communicate in a way he can receive. You know, a kindergarten teacher will talk to her children in a very different way than an eighth grade teacher is going to talk to her students.
Mm.
So we really need to understand, where is the person who needs to open up? Where is this person at? I know that he was afraid of my outburst, emotional expression, so I had to tone that down. And I used to see myself like a volcano landing in the ocean, and with Roger representing the ocean. So I would be able to actually approach him in a way that little by little he would open up.
Mm.
And another thing, I never stopped. You know, we I would always call you, even when, you know, now he's working from home. When he's in his office, we always talk at lunchtime, no matter where we are, even if it is 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Hi, how are you? How is your day going? So when
Mm.
actually he comes home, I never have the feeling that I haven't seen him since 7 o'clock in the morning, because we always had those moments. So you never give up. You find ways that the other person, your spouse, can little by little say, wow, there is something valuable in this
Mm.
communication habit. We made it a habit to communicate.
And
Fantastic.
I would like to add to that, for if you have a spouse who is not a good communicator, you need to give them the space and the time
Mhm.
to communicate. So this is often a big problem with relationships between men and women, because studies have shown that women have a much better ability to communicate and to use language than men in general.
Mm.
That's the
I've
excuse.
I've heard that they have something like 4 times as many words available to them.
That's what you would like us to believe. It's
No, but
not true.
I think it might be
Not
true
true.
though. But anyway, yeah, go on.
So
I'm voting for Roger.
that's right. So it takes, and men take longer to think about what they want to say.
That's very true.
Where so a woman will often have the temptation to fill the silence. She'll ask a question, and then the guy like me is sitting here thinking, I'll give you an answer in 3 days because it's going to take me that long to figure out what I want to say. But you have to have patience, and you have to not jump in and try and fill that void. And then if you wait a little bit longer, then you give time for your spouse to respond, and then acknowledge small efforts, you know,
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
always praise them for small efforts.
Wow. So did that come specifically from? I mean, so in terms of the giving that time, did you guys set aside a time, or was it over dinner, or because it can be hard sometimes to find the time? But
Depends. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually, when the children were little, our life was completely wrapped around them, their time,
yeah.
but they was slept in the bed together with us. So, I mean, we were like living with the rhythm. But then we realized that we had really failed to build a closer relationship, to really communicate with one another. And we started doing marriage weekends where we actually found the time to talk, because we had not really developed common interests. You know, now we do Tai Chi, we do ballroom dance classes, we do a lot of things that could be challenging, but in doing that, we created a space where we could actually communicate, and on a
Mm.
much deeper level. We created common interests, and then we say, okay, let's talk. Let's say Saturday afternoon, we have time, we have an hour. Let's talk. Let's sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think, on those different levels of communication that I mentioned, you need to schedule some time at least every day to be able to, talk about the details of your lives and figure out,
Every
the
day.
plan. Well, we do it like at dinner time every night, what's going to happen the next day.
Mhm.
And then if you want to go on a deeper level, if you want to, share your deepest feelings, it's really good to schedule some time and say, hey, you know, I need to talk to you about something. When would be a good time?
Mm.
And once you put it in the schedule,
Yeah.
and you say,
Yeah.
then you can prepare for it and you can both get ready for it. So especially if you're dealing with something difficult, put it in the schedule. Say, you know, Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon is good. Don't do it late at night. You know, don't leave it at till 10 o'clock because you get tired and you know, emotions can get really stressed at that time of day.
Mm.
That's what it is, being intentional. You really make it sure that nothing else is going to interfere, unless there is a sudden death. Then, in which case, that might take priority. But you know, die later. I have to talk to my husband. Can't really do it that way. But
Mm.
if you really make it intentional, this is our time. Nothing can come in between. That intention itself creates the space. I really believe the universe works with us when we are intentional about this.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. Yeah, and I think that's. Hey, I was going to say for the people that I mean, I think quite a few people have done the marriage course, and I think something that Emma and I noticed when we did the marriage course was that it just created an intentional space for us to communicate generally, and actually, yeah, and I missed the marriage course. I said, "Oh, we should just do the marriage course so we have that time to be together and talk on a deeper level, and it can, you know, and of course we do anyway now, but what I liked about that was just it gave you that kind of, okay, we're having couple time now, we're working on our couple. So I would say, yeah, if one can do that on a weekly basis or set aside some time, even with the specific topic in mind, I think, yeah, from my experience as well, I would also say that that's definitely very meaningful, and that's almost what you need to do because otherwise there's too much of life gets in the way. I think,
Yeah.
or one of you are not ready to receive or even to share. So yeah.
That's
Sure.
the, you know, really one of the main purposes of having a date night, you know,
Yeah.
once a week or once every 2 weeks, whatever you can manage or agree upon. But a date night should, you know, be a chance where you can communicate on some level, on a heart-to-heart level.
And even going on a walk, we go on a walk almost every day. And that is actually time when I'm not snapping photos of flowers that we actually talk and share at a very deep level. Because most of the time, even when I'm taking photos of flowers, I can still engage. We can still engage and talk to each other. And even half an hour, we come home and we feel like, wow, that was fantastic. You know, we found a bridge, we crossed the bridge together and we found each other. So
Fantastic. And that comes into a little bit what you guys said about like it's not, you know, like you can't just do A, B, and C and then you have a good relationship. It's actually about the habit. It's actually about what you do on a daily, weekly, you know, basis that's really going to, you know, give you that good relationships. I mean, it's, yeah, I feel like it's the principle of life in some way that you, same with healthy eating. Like you can't just eat one salad and be like, I'm healthy now. You have to eat healthy regularly. You need to drink good water. You need to exercise regularly. You need to, you know, get fresh air regularly. You can't just do it once and then be like, you know, I got, you know, now I'm healthy forever. It doesn't. Unfortunately, life it doesn't work like that. We all wish. I think that's what we all we hope. We hope we're gonna get there. Like the happiness is in the future sometime, but I think true happiness is developed through those daily habits and actually trying to find better systems in your day-to-day life and in your week, and then over time you're going to move towards a happier, more fulfilling life. That would be my 2 pence on the subject. uh, and Actually, I think before we go on into the groups, we need to talk about the nail. I think we need to talk about the nail. So what did you guys? Yeah, what's that? Yeah, which nail? Yes, actually, I had a question about the nail. So if you have the nail, so okay, so about the sharing thing. So I know I completely get that, and I think often we just want people to listen. But what if you see this nail in your partner and you really feel like, wow, you want to help them to take it out? Is there no way you can? What under which circumstances can you sort of reach out and try to take it out, or should you never do that?
That's what I said. You ask permission. And that was what Roger and I
Mm.
came to the agreement that when we share and there's a lot of emotions, we ask each other permissions. Can I offer a solution?
Yeah.
And then if the other one says yes, you say, oh, by the way, let me remove this nail from here. And then the other person says, yeah, go ahead. Or otherwise it's like, it's mine. What are you doing? What are you touching? You know? And I think it's always important, no matter, the same with children, the same with a friend, the same with everybody, that you ask permission to give a solution, to offer feedback, always. Never take things for granted. Of course, you know, we don't need to fill out a form. Darling, may I offer you a response to this? But sometimes it flows, it's a natural thing. But when we feel like there's something more, there's something deeper, we really ask each other, would you like to hear my thought? Would you like to see my viewpoint on this? And it's, you know, we shouldn't get offended if the other person says, no, thank you, just for you to receive what I said was a great help. We're like, yeah, I'd love to see how you're looking at this, you know, and it's an incredibly useful tool.
Exactly, and I think that's you put the nail on the head there,
Yeah.
and I think that's it really. Like and I would say when I reflect about my relationship as well, that's usually it. Like, and actually that's probably the hardest thing to do is to ask for permission. You feel, especially in a long-term relationship as well, you almost feel entitled to go and take the nail out because you've been together for so long. Like, surely I can just say what's on my mind. I can just be honest and frank with you. But actually, it never works. It never works. It always goes, like you said, you have to go and ask for the permission. You have to say, yeah, is it okay? Or like, would you like to hear my, like, are you looking for a solution? I think that would be, I would agree. I would agree with that. Fantastic. So should we maybe introduce the questions for the groups?
Yeah.
Can we get them up on the screen? So I can't see them now. Oh, there we are. Yes. So so the first question is just so we just have just a general introduction. Usually, just when you were blessed and your family situation, something like that, and then maybe Daniela and Roger, you could take over from question number 2, just introducing the questions.
I'll do this one. You do the next. So, what qualities are you looking for in a good listener? So, what is it that in somebody else that makes you want to talk and share with them?
What have been some obstacles to communication in your relationship? And, one of the things, for instance, is really choose the right environment too. That's important. If my husband is busy with a conference call, I don't go in and say, Roger, I have to talk to you about what we're going to be doing on the weekend. So that is very important to be mindful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think the last one.
4, what habits?
Yeah,
what habits have you developed that have really helped you communicate and share within your couple? So some things that you'd like to share, some tips for other people.
Mm-hmm. And what is one way you could improve communication in your couple? Well, that's the question.
Fantastic. So I think we'll post them in the chat. I think they're also in the email that everybody was sent as well, if you're looking for them in the group. So yes, we're going to go into the group shortly. We'd like to take just a 5-minute break if somebody needs the toilet or grab a glass of water or something like that. Before we do that, just we're trying to make the discussion groups as fruitful and as good as possible. Sometimes nobody wants to take initiative in the groups, so we're trying to come up with different ways of engaging people or just having an initiator, just the first person to speak or take. So we come up with different things, different times. I think another time we had the shortest person in the group, or I don't know, the one who was who's been blessed the longest and things like that. So I mean, we did the shortest at one time. So we we did the tallest one point. So we thought we'll do the shortest person in the group this time. So I hope that's okay. And there it is. It's on the screen. So that's just to get the conversation going, basically. And sometimes, some groups just get going, but it's just if nobody's taking initiative, that's just one way to get things going. Also, please make sure when you go into the groups to turn on your microphones and videos, so you can engage with everybody. There's a help button. So if you do need sort of help in the group, you can press the help button. And one person from the staff team, MMM, staff team would then come in and come to the group if there's any help with anything. Obviously, we mentioned about the host as well. And let me just see. I think that's it really. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys. I'm going into a group as well. So yeah, to have a quick 5-minute break, and oh yeah, Roger and Daniela will also be in the group as well, so you might see them there. So yeah, we'll see some of you in 5 minutes.
Bye bye.
Okay. Yeah. Bye bye for now. Hi everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Fantastic. It's always nice. It's always nice to see the energy in the screens after the group discussions as well. We hope you've had a great time together. Like we've said, there will be an opportunity to return back into your groups after this little end part. So yes, I don't know. So how was it? Maybe Roger and Daniela, how was your group? Do you have a good group discussion?
Yeah, we had a good discussion. We had a group of people from Northern Europe, Norwegian and Austrian, German. Yeah. Interesting.
Fantastic. Any particular thing? Was anything to pull out of the discussion that was particularly interesting or added to this evening?
Well, there were some ideas about, how to, well, I think people talked about the value of, communication and really connecting in heart with somebody and then feeling God's presence in that relationship is so important. It's like when you really connect to somebody and you feel that intimate connection, it's like you're not alone in the world anymore. And we often go through life thinking in our own little world, but when you can come out of that and connect to somebody's heart through communication, it just is such a liberating experience.
100%. It feels like that's what somehow life is about, isn't it? Yeah. But it's hard to get there sometimes, especially, even harder maybe in your closer relationships, ironically, because I suppose that's where you want to go deepest, and it can sometimes get stuck.
And one point that I would just like to share came out of how can you improve communication as a couple is if you really want to get into a deep conversation, sometimes just holding hands while you have that conversation can be such a way to build trust. Like if I'm having an argument with my wife, or there's a difficult thing, something that we're struggling with, or something that I'm struggling with and I'm trying to share, if she comes in, just puts her hand on mine and listens to me with her hand on mine, it just gives such a feeling of connection and that reassurance and trust.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great and a very specific tip, actually.
Yeah,
I'm going to try that. I'll try that. That's really good.
Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do because it's the last thing you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. If it's very intense, then it can be more challenging maybe. But no, that's fantastic. I'm happy you had a good discussion. Great. And in our group, we had really good discussion as well. We're talking quite deeply with I had 2 other couples in my group, and one of the things that came up was the fact that sometimes, sometimes you do need it. Like, so in order to unblock communication in the relationship, sometimes you do need maybe somebody else to come in and help, like another couple. Or we were talking about the fact that certain topics. I mean, like even now in MMM, it's sometimes easier to talk about something when there's other people around with you. But it could be like a specific topic, or one couple in the group even said that when she was sharing the thing that she wanted to share with somebody else, they sort of almost interpreted, they translated it and told their partner the same thing that they wanted to tell their partner, but they couldn't actually it was that on that particular topic they couldn't really receive it, and the group setting was actually helpful to talk about certain topics, and then we went even deeper there to say that actually you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help, but maybe sometimes you just need that one person to come in and talk to you as a couple, or like I said, another couple, or even to reach out and ask for professional help. So we had an example of that in our group as well. They had reached out and received professional help, and it saved their relationship. So actually, if anything, that's what I also wanted to emphasize from our group as well, that don't be afraid to ask if you're getting stuck. And also MMM, we're here. And also we do have, actually we're going to share that at the end here as well. We do have a list on, yeah, there you go. I didn't mean to cue that, but there you go. Andy is on top of that, but that's, we have that as well. But also you can reach out to myself or Patrizia in the MMM team as well if you do want to talk. And that could be helpful as well, maybe just to unblock some things or just have somebody else's perspective on thing, and maybe you might be surprised. You might think you have a bad relationship, but maybe there's just one point, and actually you have a much better situation than you think you do. So yeah. Was there anybody else who wanted to share anything from that group? Oh, Serena, Termine. Ask to unmute.
Cannot. Yeah, now. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, we had also a very nice talk, and what was interesting, we found out many common strategies about how to resolve communication problems, and one was to make some little rituals together in the couple, like having a meal together. Meal times are really very important to talk, and also the bye-bye ritual when somebody leaves, to give a kiss or say bye-bye, I go here or there, or I go shopping or wherever, and use time, good quality time for walks or just plan to do some activity together. But daily little rituals can be very helpful. And also we spoke about the non-verbal communication, like holding hands or some little touch, like like bye-bye kiss again. And also to a difficulty many times between husbands and wives is that husbands too quickly want to fix things. They don't get the message completely, and the wives many times use too many words to explain a little
yeah, we touched on that. It's back on the nail again. Exactly. Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, and then that's really, and you touched upon some topics there as well that's been talked about this evening about good habits, and I think creating. Yeah, it's in the little things sometimes. Yeah, like Daniela mentioned as well about the hand just now, and like I said, when somebody leaves, I mean, or these in the small little things in the day to day, we can actually make a big difference to our relationship. And also in that, I think also Roger and Daniela was sharing in their talk that they talk throughout the day a little bit here and there. So those are the small little things, small little habits that make the big difference. Like I think in the long run, which by it's a daily, it is like a spiritual practice, isn't it? It's a daily thing. You have to be intentional and do it on a daily basis. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Great. Great. So I think I'm going to pass the word over to Roger and Daniela for a final. So I think they have a little like a couple challenge for us, a little assignment or something that we can do in addition. So I'll just pass the word over to them.
The assignment, okay. The assignment is, it would be ideal if you could meet with your spouse on a weekly basis, but I would like to challenge you to set aside one evening in the next week or 2 weeks. We'll give you 2 weeks on this one to organize a nice date night together, to go out and do something special. It could be a date day, maybe you go to a park, but spend some time and pick a topic and discuss the topic together in a deep way. Okay?
So specific topic of communication to speak about, basically.
Yes. Don't just leave it kind of up to chance. So pick a topic that you want to talk about.
And actually, it's important that you talk about the things you would like to talk more about, and also find something that you have never talked about. You know, we have run the course 8 times, and we're still learning things from each other. Because we always find something now. I forgot to tell you that. You know, at this point, we're down to the diapers, with the color of the diapers we were wearing when we were babies, because we shared so much. But believe it or not, believe it or not, we're always finding ways. And sometimes, we never talked about this. Why don't we tackle that? So it's really interesting to tackle those things that you may feel uncomfortable talking about, and it helps explore different realms of heart with your spouse.
Okay,
Fantastic.
You got it. One date night in the next 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Challenge is on. That's amazing. Good. We like it.
How do we find out who's completing their challenge?
God will.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll. That will be the next level MMM. Maybe we'll create a course or something where we can work more closely together.
Yeah. You could post it in. Isn't there a Facebook group or something?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. Maybe we can list that. Yeah.
Okay. So after you complete your challenge, you have to post it into the Facebook group and tell everybody what you did, so that we can hear about it and find out. Okay.
Yeah, we're happy there. Or if you wanted to send us an email and let us know that you did it, or post on Facebook, sure. I think that's a great idea, and that then it's.
Then you become accountable.
Yes, very exactly. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much, Roger and Daniela, for coming this evening. We're so grateful you could come and be here and share this great topic with us. Before we round up, I'm going to ask, I think, Daniela's going to say a prayer in a second, but before we do that, there's a few final announcements. And that is that we have a confirmed speaker for the next MMM, which is going to be on the 1st of July, and Andreas will be our speaker, and he'll be talking about, I think we're continuing on this. He's talking about deep relationships. So I think we're going to go deep there. I think we're already gone deep today, so we'll continue on that theme for next week, next month, or the 1st of July. So, and if you haven't saved our emails, like if you're new tonight and you haven't saved our email, please do that. We have had some issues with our emails going into spam, so please do save us as a contact in your emails. And also we always do send out a feedback form for every evening, so we will be sending it out as usual, and we're just grateful if you wanted to give some quick feedback, and it helps us improve. And also, we love to hear back from you guys what you thought about the evening, the speakers, the groups, and everything. Also, we have some resources, and I think Andy put up before. We have the Best Family Department website. There are people you can reach out to there. Like I said, again, you can reach out to me or Patrizia in the MMN team, and I think that's it. We're so grateful you came this evening, and I'm going to hand it over now to Daniela to just finish off the evening with the prayer for us. So, Daniela, over to you.
Before she does, I just wanted to mention that we are going to run the marriage course again at the end of June. So we will let everybody know when we're going to do that if you'd like to sign up. And you can,
but the time is really,
I know the time it doesn't match, but it is possible to do it in your own time, in your own schedule, if you want to.
Oh, fantastic. Will it be time for us to add that into the email going out after the MMM, like the details of that?
We'll let you know. We are organizing it in conjunction to True Mothers event in Las Vegas on June 5th. And so the national headquarters has asked us to run this again. So once we have the details, we can let you know. In our last course, we had a couple in Hungary and a couple in Switzerland that signed up. And we send the information to them, and then they do it at their own time. But it was very interesting that they were doing that from Europe. So
exactly. So and I would say we couldn't have recommended more. And obviously this is an opportunity to do it. So even if you can't attend live, I would strongly recommend to sign up if you haven't yet tried it out or done it yet. It's
Okay.
you won't regret it.
Now let us pray.
Yes.
Join your spouse's hand if you
Hold
are
hands.
close with them. Beloved God, beloved Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, beloved true parents, and beloved Jesus, you've given us life. You've given us love, lineage. You've given us your heart. May we truly pray that each day we become aware of the gifts that you give us so that we can give these gifts to others. We can give these gifts to our spouse, to our children, to all the people we know, because there is nothing of ours that does not belong to you first. We're so grateful that we could share our hearts with these beautiful people on the other side of the pond, that we could really reach out to them because you are the one who's talking through us as we empty out to receive you and to give of you. May you bless our days, and may we really always live putting into action our thoughts, our ideas, centering on you and centering on our true parents. We would like to offer you this time, this precious time we spend together, in all of our names, blessed central families, and in the name of Daniela and Roger Wetherall, our blessed central family. Achu.
Achu. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again for coming. And yeah, have a nice summer month of June coming up. And we'll hopefully see you on the 1st of July with our next MMO event. Thank you, everybody. And thanks again, Roger and Daniela.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Nice to meet
you.
you all.